the shop. The last couple times I did this, it cut off the beginning. I tried to do something clever. Today, nothing clever. And it will probably keep the initial part of the video in perfect condition, just because the world is like that right about now. Welcome back to my shop and live in the shop, Genesis Custom Sabers. My name is Rob. I'll be your host for this episode of Live in the Shop. And I know the question that's on everyone's mind, how long is he going to keep doing this? Well, the plan is to either kill it when people stop tuning in and asking me questions, or when we can actually go about our regular lives and I can go camping or something. You know, I don't know what it is that you're waiting for. So maybe it's going out, sitting on the patio, having an ice cold beverage. We may talk about ice cold beverages a little bit today. I don't know. If you're watching and the bottom right part of your screen, there is a box. You can type comments, questions in there. I would love to hear from you. I will do my best to answer all the questions that come in. I would love for a question to come in or even a comment right now, just so that I know somebody's actually watching this, because it's really weird in a quiet room to talk to a phone and just assume that it's in some way meaningful. So I don't know if it is for you. Kind of is for me, you know, like I get to interact and engage with the people that GCS Nation, the people that kind of follow my work and follow some stuff. Hey, there's questions coming in. There are people out there. You aren't alone. Thank you, Chris. Not alone, Ryan. See you. May the 4th, right? Where did you get that shirt? I saw, funny story. Actually, it may not be a funny story. I saw a guy at the Calgary Expo. Was it the Edmonton Expo? Came to my table, Genesis Custom Sabers, had the shirt, and I'm like, I need that shirt. And so I went looking online and I found it. May the 4th, right? That was, I don't know about you, but that was kind of crazy. I was going nuts all day. Just, I don't know if I've ever answered that many emails and messages and questions about stuff in one day, ever. There was a lot of interest, and that really, really encourages me, because when you do this for a living and then the world kind of gets turned upside down, you kind of don't know. Like, May the 4th is my biggest sales day of the year. I try to have special stuff available, stuff that's out of stock. I try to work to make sure that it's there. In this case, the speeder saber was kind of a new thing, but you really don't know. I mean, everybody's disposable income is dried up. A lot of people are out of work. Are people still going to buy stuff? And people show. So I'm kind of been chilling for May the 4th. Been working a little bit on a bar fridge you may have heard about recently. Talk about that if anybody's actually interested. I missed a couple of questions as I was yakking. Feel free to fire those at me again. Somebody challenged me recently on the whole bar fridge thing, that no self-respecting man cave should have Coca-Cola in a Guinness fridge. Hey, from Paris, hello. And the compliments, thank you for the ego stroking. I really appreciate it. My ego is intact. Accidentally bought it super early. Okay, missed that one. So yeah, anyways, to answer my, man, there's lots of questions. To answer the complaint about the beer fridge, I actually got a couple of things. There's, my fridge kind of, kind of follows the journey of manhood. What the content of the fridge, starting with the juice box, moving up to the Coca-Cola, and then, of course, the Guinness. And whenever, when they're a little bit older, say 40, I want to have bonding time with my sons. So that's part of the purpose of that whole beer fridge, is to have a beverage with Dad in here. It's got to be age appropriate. Someone mentioned something about the Bane Saber and the Killer Penny. That goes way back. I mean, you'd have to be, what was it, like 2009 or something. Will you be making any sabers similar to the new Ray Saber? Unlikely. I don't do replicas, and I don't try to copy and rip off. So I haven't seen enough of the Ray Saber that I'm really, I don't know, lightsaber. I don't know. We'll see. For right now. So anyways, yeah, going back to the Bane Saber and the Killer Penny, that was a contest on a website or a forum called judgesabersmith.com, which is kind of an invite only community that got attacked for being between the Killer Penny and the Bane for votes, and eventually the Killer Penny edged me out. How long until the Speeder Saber shipped out? On the website, when you purchased, it said 3 to 8 weeks. So yours will ship out between 3 and 8 weeks. Got all the stuff I need to build them, just need to set time aside and just piece by piece, kind of methodically. I need to prep the parts, age the parts, assemble it, and just do a masterful job of it so that you'll be pleased. So it's going to be worth the wait, I guarantee you. Again, thank you for all the questions and comments that are coming in. These are great. I don't know if any of you caught the finale, the ending of the Clone Wars. I've been asked a lot about that because I've gone on record as not liking the Clone Wars. But I have to say, this final season that they've just released has been beautiful, masterfully done. If they had started that way, I mean, that's probably impossible because we're going back a few years here and the technology wasn't there. But just even the music and the storytelling is much more grown up and intense. It started out as a kid's show, which is part of the reason why it lost me. You're taking things that are precious to me and it's like becoming a kid's show, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not into this. Will you ever sell empties? Person's asking. Probably not, but I'll explain to you why. The reason I do what I do, I like to do it myself. I like to hands-on everything. I want to do it as an art, not mass producing. So when I get sabers, CNC machined, like the Speeder or the Creed or the Ascend, I get them in as large a batch as I can afford. Obviously, the larger batch you get, the better your price per unit is going to be. So if I ordered 10,000 of them for the CNC machine parts, the price would come down. But I'm not able to do that from a cash flow point of view. So I order a batch as big as I can. So each set of parts is a cost to me, and it represents an opportunity to actually make a profit. So if I take a set and I sell it just as an empty, I'm making zero profit on it. And it's kind of a double whammy because I'm also losing an opportunity to make a profit on those parts. So from a business point of view, it doesn't make sense for me to sell empties. Down the road, if something completely changes, maybe I'll be able to afford mass, like 10,000 runs of things, and then I could sell empties to kind of recoup costs. That's another way of doing it. It's not my thing. So no, at this point, not selling empties. And there you go. That's why. And again, I missed a couple of questions. So anyways, yeah, Clone Wars. I don't know if you've watched Rebels. I've been rewatching it again with my boys. And so it's interesting to see the Maul character introduced in Rebels and then fleshed out in... Oh, it told me I got disconnected there. So I don't know what part of my rambling you didn't hear about Clone Wars and Rebels. But if anybody asks, I'll go back into that. So again, thanks for asking questions. These are great, even though I'm missing half of them. Hello there, finally catching the video live, following you since 2012. Thank you, Benjamin. Oh yeah, I know your name. Yeah, FX Sabers Forum, that was the only thing. When I first joined the Saber community online was 2004, Custom Saber Shop Forum. Still a member there, don't post very much. Forums just really aren't much of a thing anymore. Have you ever considered a gray side anodizing to your Ascend production series? The anodizer that I work with locally here doesn't use gray, and so for gray I tend to just do powder coating and then do special sabers, whereas anodizing I can get it done in batches. That's a hand fart, by the way. Sometimes I do that and people think I farted, so I just need to qualify. Sometimes you can do it to music too. How can I talk my wife into letting me decorate the garage like yours? Well, Mike, I don't know what to tell you. Brian, I don't know if you got anything to add if you're watching from Smuggler's Room, because he's quite an interesting man cave. This is where I work. And as an artist, I was able to convince my wife that as an artist, I need a studio that is inspiring and transports me into the right mind frame to be inspired and to do creative works that will generate an income for our family. She bought it. So I was able to, piece by piece, build and invest in the decor around here to do exactly what I said. My wife is a Trekkie. You can work with that. There's a lot There's a lot of really cool art and imagery in set design in Trek if you're willing to look for it. Everything from the Deep Space Nine architecture, the Cardassian influence, to the I've always loved the Klingon lighting, subdued lighting. There's lots of cool stuff to work with. You could buy yourself just bundles and bundles and bundles of cable housing, and just run that everywhere and look like the Romulan ship from one of the recent films, which is basically a lot of the set design was just thousands of yards of this varying dimensions of cable bundling. How do you make the Prelogy Womb vintage sound effects from your smooth swing? Smooth swing is an interesting thing, and the reason I was late to the game and getting my sound fonts out is because I wanted a lot of time to study it and to practice it. And it took a lot of work to try to find what sounds could be used to engineer smooth swing pairs that would then translate into actually the sound that I wanted when you're swinging the saber. And I'm not going to get into the detail of how I did that. It was a number of things, but I was finally able to get something that I was relatively happy with. Thanks again for all the questions that I'm missing. It's kind of weird to say that. Thanks for all the things that I'm completely ignoring. Thank you. I don't mean to ignore them, and I've mentioned this before. If you ask a question, try to keep it short, because I get these long paragraph questions. There's no way in the world I can read that before it fades off of my screen and goes away. So if you want a question or comment, then try to keep it a little snippet, short format, then I can see it, address it. I'll do my best. Where were we? Smooth swing fonts, set design. Part of the reason of actually, hey, happy birthday, Colby. Part of the reason for doing this, what you see behind me, obviously was I was genuine about creating an inspiring workspace, but it also was to do as a backdrop for videos. So being that I'm trying to shoot, whether it's sound videos or whatever, as much as possible. Doing live videos just gives me another chance to actually fire up the lights in the back and actually use what I was so hard for over the years. And in case you don't know, it's always a work in progress. There's going to be more things added in and details and stuff. I'm not done with this yet. Yeah, so to use it for a live setting, I thought it was pretty cool. Favorite blade color is definitely the ice blue. How fast did all of the speed airs sell? The 10 sold. I didn't put a stopwatch on it. I think they were gone in under an hour. I think the whole, to be honest, the whole May the 4th is kind of a blur right now. So details like that I may not remember. I needed to nail the important things, like get people their voice, have the right invoice go to the right person, and have everything charted and tracked so that I know what's going on. Nailed that. So yeah. These conversations, I don't know if you've picked up, are very rambling because I'm going back and forth between answering questions and trying to fill it in with things that I think, okay, what do I talk about if nobody asks questions? So I thought about the Clone Wars, that kind of stuff, Rebels. Did I mention that I really like Rebels? Rebels is really cool. I don't know if you know this. Well, I don't think it was intentional. Maybe it was. If anybody's actually watching from Lucasfilm, you could confirm this. Rebels started out with very much the Firefly dynamic. A crew of misfits on a ship, personality conflicts merging. The ship is poor, just scraping by from job to job in the Outer Rim, trying to do their thing. It's very Firefly. You've got the big burly, warrior type. You've got the clever captain. You've got the witty pilot. I've quickly kind of switched a couple of roles there. You've got the intelligent doctor. You've got everyone's got Firefly, right? I'm just gonna wear one of my Firefly shirts. I think Rebels kind of captures some of the things I love about Firefly. My wife's using that style for Star Wars role-playing game. Style of, I don't know, I missed half the question. So yeah, I think one of the things I liked about Rebels, it was felt like Firefly. You just kind of feel like you're traveling the Outer Rim in the ship with this crew. One of the things I think they did brilliantly was they made Rebels a small story of small-time characters on the fringe of the larger story. And didn't try to make the show about the larger story. They made the show about the small story within the large story. And I think that's what Clone Wars failed at for so long. They were trying to make the show about the whole big story. It's just the best episodes were the ones where little stories within the big story. Because Star Wars initially was little Luke, in little story within the big story, and all of a sudden realizes he's become the big story. I mean, that progression is just awesome. Here we go into talking about storytelling dogma again. Who are your muse makers? Eastern. Hey, it's been a long time, bro. Maybe it was the Corran Horn stuff that made you come out of the woodwork. For those who don't know, Eastern 57 is one of the guys that goes back to the time I was talking about, when the Bane Saber competed with the Killer Penny in that contest. And he and I talked a lot about Corran Horn design, and actually the original Corran Horn, one of the first runs, resides in the home of Michael Stackpole. Eastern was part of making that happen with me. Sound font was part of the original one, Halcyon Sound Font. So welcome, Josh. I think it is Josh. Is it Josh? Your real name? I can't remember. Are you excited about the Kenobi show? Yes. I'll get to that in a minute because someone else asked something about. It slipped my mind now. I don't know. Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic about the Kenobi show. I hope they do it really well. I mean, then again, you could have that real excellent. Hey, Josh. Good. Thank you. Thank you. My memory is awful for names. I'm glad I remembered. Yeah, the Kenobi show. I'm cautiously, well, like anything else, cautiously, optimistically looking forward to it. I hope they really nail it. I think they've done a great job with The Mandalorian. Having said that, I think they can do better. And I'm hoping that Kenobi is just another notch in that direction. Have you built a Photon or enhanced blade with NeoPixel? Photon, no, I have not. I think I only have one Photon blade here just for experimenting, and I haven't picked it up for a long time. To me, Photon would really, I mean, it would interact with the blues, but really it would just kind of make it wouldn't make it a multicolor saber anymore. What's your personal lightsaber? That's a great question. I addressed that in one of the other videos. I have a lightsaber over there called Fulcrum 3, which I'll get. There's a lot of dust on it. Haven't seen much combat lately. This, back in the day when I first started, 20 some years ago, I designed a lightsaber that I thought would be mine, and I've kind of morphed it, and this is the third incarnation of that. And I've experimented with a lot of techniques and stuff on this saber, and the battery's dead. Oh, the battery's not dead. Hey. With this one, I've got a ball lock mechanism in the pommel, and I can remove. I think that's a Crystal Focus 7, 9. I don't know. But anyways, that's the core that I worked on. Now, I mean, nowadays, the cores that people are coming out with 3D printing and stuff are, and there's a pin socket that goes into the cores that people are coming out nowadays with are just insane and beautiful. And this is just a dinosaur by comparison. But, I mean, back in the day when I built this, it's kind of cool. But I don't sell sabers of this style because it's just not user-friendly and durable. It needs kind of maintenance and upkeep that I alone can do because I know its weaknesses and that kind of thing. I don't know. I'll probably design myself a new saber at some point here. Thank you, Josh. Yeah, I'm glad you remember that design. You go back to, wow, how long was it? Fulcrum 3, I think I built in like 06. Have you thought about a 4.0 for yourself? Yes, off and on. I've also got sons, and as they're kind of coming of age, I want to have sabers for them that are special too, and just think of putting some thought into that. So that may require a family saber design build of some kind as we go. So, Josh, I don't know if you know, I tweeted out to Michael Stackpole the speeder design coming and asked him if he still had his. He said, yeah, he keeps it in a box on the shelf. So I was really grateful that he responded. Still have the gold. What I made for who? Still have the gold one you made for Harry? Gold what? I don't know what you're talking about, Josh. I don't remember making a gold. The boys, have they designed their own sabers yet? No. See, they're still young enough that at school, when there is school, and they're talking about things, they just, the idea of, doesn't everybody have a dad with a really cool space shop that you can go hang out with and have lightsaber fights? Like, that's just a boring, normal thing. No, it's really cool, and your dad is awesome, and don't forget it. They're young. Someday they'll look back on life and go, wow, I had a ridiculously weird dad. And they'll have their own issues to work through with that. And we'll have a Guinness over it. 5+, awesome, thank you. Yeah, my sons are, well, we all have birthdays around the same time. They just turned 11 and 7. 7-11. Yeah, they're good kids. Actually, you'll get to meet them in an upcoming SoundFont video that will be released very soon. The gold one was made right after the Kill Fill red one, same design, just gold. I'm trying to remember. Kill Fill, that rings a bell. I made a saber for somebody and named that. This is a long time ago. My memory is stretched. I'm trying to remember a gold one. It's probably when I was first getting into powder coating. I was just like blasting things with color. Like, hey, gold, everything's gold, everything's red. It's a long, long time ago. Yes, indeed. So anybody want to ask me anything about lightsabers, films, props? Kill Fill red one. Do you ever watch reviews of other people's custom sabers? Sometimes. I watch reviews of people send them of stuff that I've done just to see what they say about it. But there are so many custom sabers out there and so many reviews and unboxing videos and things like that. It's impossible to keep up on it all. So it's actually playing. This was around 2008. It's just paint. Painted a gold. I don't know. You're gonna have to fire me a picture because I'm drawing a blank on this, man. Unless you're the old codger and you've completely mixed me up with someone else. But your reference of Kill Fill got me thinking because I do remember making a saber for a guy. I think it was, there was something red about it. But yeah, memories, right? I mean, I tell people that back in the day, 20 years ago, there used to be like maybe 5 people around the world doing what I did and trying to make money at it. Who's your favorite maker other than yourself? Mike, that's it. You know, I was going to say that's an impossible question to answer, but it's not. There's a couple of makers that I just am floored by. One of them, his name is Shannon. Shannon, if you're watching, which he probably isn't because he's a very busy guy, he's changed, some of the stuff behind me is his work because he's got a laser cutter. So I'll design something, I'll say, hey, can you cut this out for me? And he's very great, so cuts me a deal. But his prop work for stuff that he's done in films and TV is ridiculously off the chain. I've got to see some of it up close, and it's just, I can't tell you NDA and stuff about kind of the kinds of films and things he works on, some of the stuff you might see in films that he's made, but it's just brilliant work. Another one that really inspires me is Brad, Sloth Furnace. If you go look up Sloth Furnace, he just designs beautiful, artful, well thought out things that just, you look at it and go, wow, someone put a lot of thought into that, and it feels real. That's the kind of litmus test for me, is if I look at it and I feel like, oh, I want to pick that up because it looks so real. It transports me into the reality of the story of the prop, the prop story or the film that it might have come from or the backstory or whatever. So Brad's work is off the chain. So yeah, those are some people that inspire me for sure. Great questions. Crickets. Anybody else? Maybe I'll just have a juice box here while I'm waiting. Met somebody at Celebration. Disney were to ever contact you to create a new saber for a movie show, would you? Yes. Somebody's, from time to time I get asked this question. Do you want to work on movies? I can't say anything right now. I did get to work on a film recently, but when I can announce that, you'll hear about it. It was just a very, very minor thing I got to do. But generally, in the film industry, as I understand it, people that build the props work in a prop house or a prop shop. They get often paid a wage. They create this sometimes amazing art that they never own. The film owns it. Owns the design, owns the image, owns the prop. And maybe if they're lucky, they get a mention. Hey, the guy who designed that's actually his name is blah, blah, blah. Or they get some notoriety or credibility and get a new opportunity to work for Lucasfilm in props or something. But I like to own the stuff that I make, especially if I really like it. I want it to be mine. I want to share it, but I want to own the stuff that I make. So if I was to work in films and I was to create some amazing props for some things, and often people that work in films, I know this because I've talked to some of them, they make stuff that the the art directors tell them to make that they think is crap. And if they had done it, they would have made it so much more believable and beautiful, and they don't get to. So I think the film industry is a little bit more complicated than I might want to tackle. But if someone wanted to use one of my designs in a film and they drove a dump truck of money up to my door, I'd be okay with that. That'd be cool. Love your Subway lid video. Yeah, that's over here. That's that thing right there. It's made from a Subway sandwich tray. It's a really cool shape. And part of prop design is learning to recognize cool shapes and go, hey, I'm going to use that for something. There's a video on YouTube how I did that. Obi-Wan and Anakin's hilts changed for episode 3 so they could own them. Yeah, the hilts in the films often there's like you look at them and there's like boxes sticking out, things that maybe you wouldn't have on a real weapon per se. But again, that's someone who cares and loves the thing so much that you put a lot of thought into how it would be used. Do you know the dimensions of those Subway lids? No, off the top of my head, it would be about 18 inches by about a foot. Off the top of my head. What is in those 2 boxes behind you on your left? 2 boxes behind me on my left. Are you talking about? I gotta do this. Those things? Those are just wall decorations. Actually, these ones right here are planter boxes that I found used. You plant plants in. I doctored them up and make them look like metal. These are. I'm gonna move my hand. These are made from cafeteria trays. That if you use some rivets and some handles, they can look like panel covers. I don't know if that's what my other left. Oh, this is my shop covered in here. We've got some packing material, fragile stickers, printer toner covered, some stuff like that. Packing tape. That's what's in there. Oh, see, someone asking a really long question they'll never be able to read. Hey, Rob, love your custom sabers, especially the EU. Blah, blah. Yeah. So, whoever you are, I love you. Please ask your questions in shorter, bite-sized chunks that we can all appreciate it. Yeah, sorry. Going into a strong bad moment there. What voice was that? Is that the King of Town? No. Anybody what's Strong Bad? You know Strong Bad? Strong Bad and Homestar Runner, Teen Girl Squad. Come on, right? Hello. I found myself doing a voice there and I couldn't figure out who it was. Oh, it was the teenager guy with the stubble in Teen Girl Squad. Yeah. Valentine's. Would you be my Valentine? Anyways, sorry. Top 5 beers. Coach Z. Coach Z has kind of got a Canadian thing going on there. He sounds like a Canadian. Top 5 beers. Well, Guinness, number 1. Recently, Grizzly Paw. There's a lot of craft breweries around here. Really cool. Grizzly Paw did one called P6 Pale Ale, which was awesome, and I can't get any more. Really ticks me off. So if anybody from Grizzly Paw is watching, what's the deal? Is it an exclusive kind of short-term thing? Anyways, there's another brewery in town here called Half Hitch, which is pretty good stuff. I don't know. Top 5. Still exploring. Maybe Guinness is like 1 to 4, and then the P6 Pale Ale is 5. Yeah, that's my top 5. How about that? I can't believe I throw out strong bad references and nothing. Everybody goes quiet except for Coach Z. Come on. Any plans to do Galaxy's Edge once it opens? Yes. I'm going to go disguised as a father of 2 and husband to a beautiful wife, and we're going to enjoy Yeah. We're going to enjoy Galaxy's Edge and have a beverage at Olga's Cantina and play around with all the cool stuff. And I'm going to just basically hang out at the Vulcan and just Canada. Where in Canada are you from? Tips for prop makers, unless you're talking about lightsaber makers, it's a whole different thing. Come on, get in the boat. Get in the boat. Fish. I don't recognize that. It's probably a strong bad reference that I don't even know. Do you ever make more EU hilts? Compliment of your Corran Horn, Jaina. I'll answer the EU question in a minute. Advice for saber makers and prop makers. This comes up a lot. And this is a big thing that I want people to understand. There are a few of us who have been doing this for a very long time. So we've seen things come and go, and we know what we're doing to some degree, as much as anyone does. Some of us come from a background in machining or electronics. I don't. I'm a hobbyist background. And so if you want to make money or earn a living doing something like this, in my opinion, you really need to earn a reputation, do good work. Don't try to get ahead of yourself. Often businesses, when you start a business, don't make money for the first 2 years. So keep that in mind. Build yourself a reputation. I worked for years doing this as a hobby before I even conceived of it as a business. And even for the first couple of years, my business mentality was, I don't see how this is going to work. And then after 2 years, it changed to, I can't believe this actually appears to be working. And then after about another 2 years, then it was, I could actually see this continuing to work. And then I've been working on that premise ever since. Any saber designs you've designed in mind but haven't been able to realize? Yes, I have sketchbook, and in the sketchbook are ideas. Some of them are actually okay. And I keep building on them and playing with them. I've mentioned before, design time for me takes a long time. I like to sit with things, morph it, change it, add to it, take away from it. I don't have anything that I would say is coming soon. I've been putting a lot of focus into the speeder design recently, but I've got other stuff that eventually will or will not come out. There will be new designs. There will be fresh stuff. It's just, I like to take a slow pace with that kind of thing. Someone asked about Star Wars Expanded Universe. I love the Expanded Universe. I don't have any plans for any other Expanded Universe sabers. As I've mentioned before, a project kind of just has to really grab me. And as I read through or reread through the novels, I'm reading I, Jedi again right now, I have to kind of be captured by something. How's Corona affected your production demand for sabers? Excellent question, Spencer. I would say that it hasn't affected demand, but it has affected production in that things that I order that used to take a couple of days or a week to arrive are now taking potentially months to get here. I had an order of pixel strips that was canceled, and then because everything was shut down, and then reissued. So I'm still waiting to get that. Stuff like that. Have you ever watched any of the Old Republic cinematics? If you mean my old cartoons, it didn't really grab me, the art of it. So no, that's what you mean. Or Old Republic cinematics, do you mean like from the game, the Old Republic? Yes, I have watched those. Those are brilliant. I mean, I agree with, I think, a lot of people that if you take those cinematics and actually made a show of stuff like that, that would have been pretty awesome. Really awesome. Kind of like a Final Fantasy kind of high-end animated thing. Saber based on the blast swords from Starfighter of Adumar would be cool. I'm not even familiar with that. I'm sorry. Yeah, Old Republic games. Okay. Yeah, I some of you know I played Knights of the Old Republic, loved it. Second, KOTOR 2, not as much. Obviously, the writing wasn't there. Drew Karpyshyn wasn't involved. And then years later, when they put together the Old Republic Online, I tried and just could not get into it. Just the MMO games are just not my thing. Just so. I'm a single player campaign kind of guy, which is why I love Skyrim so much. Is one of the X-Wing novels either by Stackpole or Elson? Oh, okay. Well, I read all the X-Wing novels and not clicking, not computing, but those I'm actually probably going to pick those up because when I read them the first time, I borrowed from a friend and I don't know my own copy of the X-Wing novels, and I want that in my library. Between the EU and the new canon, which do you prefer? Ha 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 ha! You are setting me up. I can't say I prefer. I did a video a few years back about how I'm wrestling with letting go of the EU to embrace the new canon, and I just can't. So for me, I love both. I think I wish the new canon. I wish they had kept more of the EU and tried to work with it. And I think the stories are better. So at least the good ones. So yeah, like the new Jedi Order series, I really like most of those novels. There's a couple stinkers. Of course, the Thrawn trilogy and duology after that are awesome. Do you collect any other Star Wars props? I don't. I'm not really a collector as much. I've got a project I'm working on from Trooper Trent of training the hovering Jedi training remote ball that I'm working on. And I've got, obviously you can see the Hoth electro binoculars someone sent me. But Josh, was that you? Is that part of a Secret Santa? Anyway, someone sent me a cast of those and I finished that into a prop. So I've got a few Star Wars related props. I've got the Ruby's DL44 on the wall in the back with my Nerf guns. So stuff like that. Would you make a separate saber that would separate like Canon's? No. No, rather I'd probably try to make some really interesting crystal reveal. Have you ever purchased a saber from another smith? I would say no, except Custom Saber Shop sent me LS6 once to do a video for. I mean, that was the closest. Yeah, but you remember those Secret Santas though, right, Josh? Someone got me that, and I can't remember who. Same feelings about the EU, yes. Precious Star Wars EU. So if you're not a fan of the Star Wars Expanded Universe, and you're willing to go out on a limb now because it's not the same thread of things, I would start with the Thrawn trilogy. Dark Force Rising, Heir to the Empire, The Last Command. Those are excellent. Introduce the character of Mara Jade, Talon Karrde, and a few others. And then there's a duology after that. I, Jedi is another one, but I think I would probably try to do them chronologically, and you can find a chronology of Expanded Universe novels. That'll get you started. Someone asked about the trim around the window. That's actually just wood MDF trim that I painstakingly worked with a router to try to get those segments and then treated and made them look old and aged. Hey Justin, how's it going, man? Currently Fate of the Jedi series. What do you think of the series? Fate of the Jedi. That was the one that was later on when Ben was being apprenticed by Jason. Luke's son Ben was being apprenticed by Jason. That was good, but yeah, didn't grab me as much. Of course, I've read the Darth Bane trilogy. That was what inspired me to do the Bane curve design. It was based on Drew Karpyshyn's design in the Bane trilogy. Got a chance to meet him, hand him the original. There's a picture of him and me with the original Bane curved design way back in the day. I loved the Bane trilogy. The fact that an author can get you cheering for the bad guy was just off the chain. Awesome. So yeah, those. So there's like the door behind me's got the same kind of trim on it, and then there's the door in the ceiling that's got the same kind of trim on that. So I did it all at the same time. Tool question: what lathe do you have? I'm not going to show you right now, but I had mentioned this before. I found a metal lathe rusting on a friend's farm in a barn, and I said I could have it. And I looked it up, and it was a Sears Roebuck. I can't remember the model of it, but there was actually a fan group out there. I was able to get some advice on restoring it. I don't have the gear section. It's literally 100 years old. I looked it up. I think it's actually 103 years old, 104 years old now. And put an engine or a motor on it, and it does basic machining, and that's all I really do with it is basic machining. I have a more modern milling machine that I use, but all the sabers that you buy from the production series sabers, the parts are CNC machined. I really only use my lathe for prototyping and for modifying things. Bane trilogy is the Breaking Bad of Star Wars, yeah, I guess. Kill switch with NeoPixel build, cons putting it on. Missed that, sorry. Will you make other props like training droid or the binoculars on the cupboard? I don't make replica props for sale. Part of the bucket list pipe dream is that someday Lucasfilm would hire me. And I know it's ridiculous. I'm not holding my breath, but I don't want to make stuff and sell stuff that's violating intellectual property or violating their licenses, unlicensed replicas. I know there's ways you can get away with it in wiggle room and stuff like that. I just don't want to do it. So I won't be selling replica stuff. Right now, lightsabers are the bread and butter. That's what I do, and the rest of the stuff is just kind of like filling out the hobby. Oh, we've been going at this for 40 minutes, man. These keep getting longer and longer. Crazy. Okay, a couple more questions, and then we're going to wrap it up. Anybody's dying to ask anything. Kill switch with NeoPixel build. Cons of putting it on battery negative line. 3 amp switch. I'd have to think about that. Sorry, I can't give you a quick answer on that one. It depends on the switch. I mean, the switch can handle the voltage. Old farts got to support each other. Yeah, that's right, bro. Any tips or essential tools on powder coating at home? I got to start with an Eastwood kit, and I still use it. It's good stuff. Will we see a speeder with a crystal reveal? It's an excellent question. Eventually, I'd like to. I've got plans and basically a working prototype 3D printed for how I would do that. It's just getting the parts machine and doing what I have in mind is going to take time. A tall silver panel in the back corner. That is, I don't know the name for it, but it's attic ceiling ventilation foam. And basically it's designed to run on the inside of your ceiling so that you can put insulation up against it and there's still ventilation in the back. I don't know the actual name for it. So higher silver thing. Oh, is this thing running along that? Oh, that's landscaping border for around where you're doing edging, for around doing stones and landscaping. There's this plastic border you can get at Home Depot, and I got some of that, and it looks really cool. It looks like bulkhead reinforcement. So, if and when you go to Galaxy's Edge, please film yourself making a saber there. I don't want to make one of their sabers. I want to make my own. But I'm sure there'll be some interesting video opportunities if and when I go. When I go, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of all this craziness sorting out. It's winding close to dinner time here, and getting hungry. So I'm going to leave you for now. Could you rank the prequels in Disney movies? I've done that before on Twitter. I don't remember. Long story short, Empire is at the top. Solo is at the top of the Disney era films. Rebels is also, I mean, it's not a film, but yeah, I've done that ranking before. It's out there somewhere in the wind. And I change it too, periodically. Most of the time, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and New Hope are the top three. Sometimes I'll mix and mash that with something that I really, really like. You're welcome. Thank you, Charcoal, for saying thank you. So anyways, look for a new Soundfont video coming up soon. Those of you that maybe checked the bar fridge challenge, and if you're a prop maker out there, would love for you to Star Wars a bar fridge and post your build, and we'll do this as a contest and just throw things up online. And I mean, Brian's Smuggler Room says he's going to do it, so at least there's two of us. If any of my buddies from the Ghostbusters want to tackle this, James, Peter, I think you guys could smash this out of the park. Get yourself a beer fridge, set yourself up for a Star Wars beer fridge, bar fridge, and then yeah, when this thing kind of clears up and we can have some people over, you're set to impress your buds with a bud. That's your thing. This is going downhill. I'm gonna call it. So anyways, until next week, same time, same channel, YouTube channel, Thursdays at 4. Have a great weekend. Don't take yourself too seriously. Seriously, don't take yourself too seriously. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Laters, Josh.